So as far as I understand, your engagement has a lot been about maintaining traditional knowledge of indigenous people, for example with agriculture. In Tibet at the moment, the stewardship of the nomads, the traditional Tibet nomads, are in danger. They're being resettled by the Chinese government because the glaciers are melting down and the land is drying out. So at the moment, a lot of these people don't have ownership about their own country, about their own land anymore, whereas for centuries, that's the lifestyle that they've had. So my question would be, what do you think, how is it possible for us to, or how is it possible to empower the nomads to take ownership back of their own land if they have such a big suppressor as the Chinese government?
Yes. The work that we do in the United States and Canada is lifting up the inherent rights of indigenous peoples. One of the frameworks that we apply in addressing climate change with mitigation and adaptation issues is that as indigenous peoples is that we have to have recognition of our land rights, land tenureship. The issues of self-determination are very important. So that's why we are here as indigenous peoples collectively working within the Indigenous Caucus, within the conference meeting of the world leaders. It's been very difficult because one of the main causes of climate change is the production, the mining, and the combustion of fossil fuels. So if you look across the world in many of these developments of oil and coal and other fossil fuels, it's within the backyard of indigenous peoples. And that's why, we are here. And solutions involve land rights. And it's been very difficult to get strong language that recognizes the rights of indigenous peoples. Because, when we really look at the bottom line, many of these governments, along with the multinational corporation and the extractive industry, the oil industry, they don't want to recognize local community rights to land. They want to take away those rights, and some of them have taken away those rights, and they don't want to acknowledge. They use militarization. So that's why, as indigenous peoples, we're looking to people of the world, civil society, to look at all these issues that we have to stand united as a human race and defending the human rights, not only of indigenous peoples, but the human rights of all people.
And my last question would be, do you see any major challenges in the context of a totalitarian communist state as in China? Because, for example, the Tibetan nomads, they can't really voice their issue. They can't really voice how their land is being taken away. So what do you think would be the major challenge, and how could they tackle that?
Yeah. All these governments of the world do not have a solution on how they recognize indigenous peoples. Governments have been removed from the humanity of people. They've been removed from the consciousness of the sacred. They've been removed from understanding that unique and profound spiritual relationship that we have with our Mother Earth. They don't have any understanding of the importance of the environment. It's all been economic development driven. So, we as indigenous peoples in the belly of the beast of the United States, we look at a government that's built around capitalism. We provide some very challenging questions in many of these social movements, whether it's socialism or communism. They don't know how to address the rights of indigenous peoples or human rights. So it's a factor that has to have special consideration. But, it's an issue that we have to really deal with, because, people are killed, if they try to speak up. That's why here in the Conference of the Parties, as indigenous peoples, we're saying that rights have to be, we're saying that the rights have to be recognized, but we're not just asking for right to participation. We're asking rights to land, rights to resources, rights to the forest. And our indigenous brother, who is the president of Bolivia, he's coming next week, and he's been demanding the rights of Mother Earth would be recognized. And that's really too far out for a lot of these governments of the world. They have no more understanding about what the relationship is to Mother Nature and to the land. And any time that you have indigenous people stepping up and speaking out on our rights issue, we're quieted, we're rounded up, put into prison, or we're told to go away. Here, we're not going to go away. We're going to continue to fight for our rights and link rights issue to climate justice.